Concrete structures will fall apart, metals will fuse together, the ozone layer would vanish, air pressure will decrease, there will be no fire, the sky won't even scatter light, the Earth's crust will crumble, and there will be no water at all. Oxygen is the most important chemical element on the Earth, especially now during the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that the atmosphere is made up of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and the rest is just other gases such as carbon dioxide, hydrogen, etc. Now, just imagine... No! Now, just imagine what would happen if all of a sudden all the oxygen atoms on the Earth just vanish. In the absence of oxygen, you will be able to hold your breath for maybe just a few seconds. However, because the atmosphere consists of about 21% of oxygen, if these atoms vanish, the atmospheric pressure would drop so drastically that your air wouldn't have enough time to adjust the pressure inside, and so therefore, they will explode. And by then, you probably wouldn't be able to keep yourself upright because you would lose balance because your air has exploded. The other thing that could happen if there is no oxygen, because water molecules consist of one oxygen molecule per two hydrogen atoms, these two hydrogen atoms now would form hydrogen gas, which is highly flammable. So in that case, there would just be a whole lot of hydrogen gas around us and with the potential of exploding the entire Earth. Not terrified yet? Well, if the oxygen atoms vanished from the water molecule, all living organisms that consist of water will just evaporate. Because remember, hydrogen is bonded to oxygen to form water. And if there's no oxygen, there's no water. So all living organisms will just dry up and gone. Okay, so remember I said that hydrogen gas is highly flammable? Well, it turns out if there is still no oxygen, then the Earth wouldn't explode. So why is that the case? Well, that's because we need oxygen for combustion, and with no oxygen, no combustion. So this leads us to there will be no automobiles, no planes, no trains, anything that essentially relies on combustion to work, they won't work. So no electricity, of course, if your country uses generators. So now the Earth will actually still get hot. And you may be wondering why, because the hydrogen can't explode. Well, that's because our ozone layer is actually oxygen gas. Well, it's O3, which is not really a gas, but it's still, well, it's not oxygen gas that we breathe in, but it's still oxygen. 3 oxygen atoms bonded together. And this protects us from the UV radiation from the sun. So, no ozone layer, that leads us to the sunlight hitting the Earth and warming up the planet and increasing the surface temperature. Now, my friends, that we will definitely die from, if we're not dead already, of course. Alright. So, all while this is happening, all of our concrete structures will just collapse, even the Earth crust. Why is that the case? Well, in concrete, oxygen is actually a binding agent, and without the oxygen gas to bind the concrete, then the concrete structures will literally fall apart. They will crumble, just as the Earth's crust. So the Earth might as well just fall apart, and then we'll sink if, again, we're not dead already. And then we'll probably go to the center of the Earth, just like journey to the center of the Earth, and we will see what there looks like. So here's a fun fact, if you're still watching. The Earth's crust is actually made up of 45% of oxygen. Who would have thought? Well, if you didn't know, now you know. Remember, subscribe to my channel if you want to learn every day. Right. So, here is a bonus. If there is no oxygen, all metals will instantly fuse if there is no oxide layer protecting them. You see, the thing is, the rust that we see on metals, This is actually a protective layer preventing the metal from instantly fusing together. Without this rust or oxide layer, the metals will just fuse as if they were never separated in the first place. So, the rust that we see on metals does have a purpose. Now, you've come to the end of this video, and this has been an amazing video about what would happen if we lost all the oxygen on the earth. So, subscribe for more and stay tuned to my YouTube channel, Everyday Life Science. I'm out.